Welcome once more to the Dpenomics Academy, where we make economics simple and practical. Today, I'm bringing to you a discussion from what we call recession. I believe a lot of us have heard the word recession. Just like we have inflation, which talks about the persistent increase in price of goods and services. We have deflation, which talks about the persistent decrease in the price of goods and services. We have reflation, which talks about, or reflation, which talks about the recovery stage of economics. Okay, we have stagflation, which I explained when I was doing my video on Fiscal. You can go back and watch. But today we're talking about recession. What is recession? Recession is a two continuous quarter of a declined economy. What does this mean? This means that recession is triggered by something that happened in the stock market or something that make people like you and I hold on to our money instead of spending it. The fear of spending your money because another will not come is what we call recession. Okay? As consumers start buying less commodities, companies start cutting down their output. And if this happens, when companies cut down their output, eventually they will have to lay off some workers. And if people are unemployed, they automatically stop spending on all but most essential things like food. Okay? Now, this is what economists call the vicious circle. The vicious circle is we have job loss, people consume less, and as people consume less, businesses suffer, and as business suffer, people lost their job. This is what the economists refer to as the vicious circle. Because of recession, jobs are lost, and as jobs are lost, people become unemployed, and as they become unemployed, they tend to reduce their expenditure. Okay, so people consume less, and when people reduce their expenditure, businesses suffer because now at that point, supply will now be exceeding demand, and when supply exceeds demand, businesses suffer, and as business suffer, they lay off workers, right? And when business lay off workers, it will result to job loss, and when jobs are lost, people consume less. So it continues that way, and this is what we refer to as recession. Okay? Now, how do we determine recession? One, economists look at personal income. How much people are taking home in their paycheck. This is what economists look at. How much is your salary? How much are your wages? How much are you taking home? That is how we determine inflation. Secondly, we have industrial production. How much the country is utilizing their production of commodities. Three, we have rising unemployment. When there's recession, unemployment becomes very high. Declining in consumer spending. You and I do not have the confidence to spend because you are not sure another one will come. Declining in business investment. Because of recession, a lot of business investors will not want to invest in a country that is experiencing recession. Now, declining in consumer and business confidence. These are how we determine recession. Okay? Now, what are the solutions to recession? Now, we have the fiscal policy used by the government. And this, by the government has to increase government spending. Okay? Increase government spending, in other words, we call it budget deficit. Okay? Cutting taxes. The government has to cut down taxes so that people who are interested in businesses can always venture into businesses. The government has to support businesses to grow. That is one. Two, we have what we call the monetary policy used by the central bank. And the way the central bank uses monetary policy to bring solution to recession is by reducing interest rates and increasing money supply, and so on and so forth. The third one is structural reform. The economy has to diverse. We have to move from, like in Nigeria today, we all focus on oil. But I could remember back then, agriculture was the soul of business. But today we are all into oil, and everybody wants to go into oil. But for recession to be settled, or the solution to recession is to diverse our economy, and so forth. Now, how do we know that recession is ending? One, when recession is ending, you're going to see things like business growth, full employment, increase in spending, rising in industrial production and export. We export more than we import, then you know recession is ending. Confidence returns to the economy, both consumers and the businesses. Most importantly, you need to know that we cannot tell the exact time that recession will end. Okay? Economists only know after the fact when the data have been collected. Thank you once more for watching. Stay tuned to the Dpenomics Academy.